What's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Unfortunately, Jude and Brandon aren't here with me today. Jude still has collarbone problems, you know, because he's Jude. But hopefully Jude should be back Sunday when we go to drop the S54 in the engine bay. Jude and Brandon will be here, so looking forward to that. As you guys know from last video, I got everything primed in, and here's the results of it. It actually came out pretty damn well. We did etching primer, then we did high build primer, and I actually did a couple coats of high build primer because I actually sanded some down, then went over it, then it's just really time consuming. I got you guys up on a tripod, so basically I just went over everything real quick, and I just scuffed it up with like the scuff pad. Now I'm pretty much ready to paint. The paint that I'm using is this Spray Max, and this stuff is really good. It's like made in Germany. I am doing a base coat and a clear coat. So the reason why this paint is super nice, there's a punch on the bottom that you like hit with a hammer, and it actually has like, it's like an epoxy based paint. So the epoxy makes it dry incredibly hard, and it makes it a really durable finish, and it's super good for like painting in an engine bay and stuff like that. But before I go ahead and lay down our first coat, I'm gonna take some acetone on a rag, just a little bit, and we're gonna rub down the engine bay, make sure there's no dust or anything like that left. I have everything wiped off now, it's all clean. Now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna start laying down the base coat. What I'm doing is, this is like the first coat on the base coat. I'm fanning it out super far away, and I'm basically just getting a dusting over it. Your first coat, you really want it thin. So that's what I'm doing. And like you can see how it almost looks like it's like peppery, and there's no solid coverage anywhere. Alright guys, so now I have the first base coat on, and we're actually looking pretty good. Now it's not going to look like anything, mainly because there's no clear in this paint, and I laid it on super light. Like you can see how like it almost has like kind of a texture to it of how light I laid it down. So now what we're going to do, we're going to throw on the second coat. We're probably going to do 3 or 4 coats on this, depending on how the third looks. We'll go from there, but I'm gonna throw on the second coat right now, and we're just gonna get to it. So I kind of jumped ahead of what I was gonna say that I was gonna do, but I kind of ran into a little bit of a problem. So far it's turning out okay. Unfortunately, I ran into a problem with getting some fisheyes in the paint. Luckily, it's in an easy spot where I can sand out and then put some more paint on it, but yeah, that's not looking good. Obviously, there's gonna be somebody out there that knows, like watching this video, that knows way more about painting than me, because I'm doing this with rattle cans, and even though they're like good rattle cans, but obviously I did something wrong to get this. Like I always say in these videos, guys, use these videos for entertainment. Don't do what I do. And if you do, take precaution, because a lot of the times I don't know what I'm doing. I'm learning along the way with you. Unfortunately, this video is now gonna be a day late than what I wanted it to, but I'm gonna have to go to the store tomorrow and get some more paint, and then we're gonna have to do a little bit more sanding, a little bit more body work. But that's the name of the game, you know. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, you know? What's up guys? This is the next day later. Paint came out okay, but there's a few spots that I have to fix. So I actually ran back to the store and I got some more paint. The spot that we have to fix is right here. You guys can see how like textured and gross this is, and there's like fish eyes all through it. So now we're gonna be working on this side, and if I kind of like dust it off here, you can see how there's some orange peel in the paint. Because this side's worse, I'm gonna start out with my 1000 grit. The other side I started out with 1500, and then I went to 2000. I have a spray bottle here. This is just filled up with a little bit of hot water and then like a tiny dash of soap just for some lubrication. Now I have a piece of sandpaper. I'm gonna put some water on it. Put some water over where I'm gonna be sanding. You're gonna be able to feel like the sandpaper start to grab onto like all the orange peel and all the rough spot. And then once it gets smooth, that's how you know you're good. Like you'll actually feel the sandpaper bite in. So I'm just gonna go over and wet sand everything. You don't have to push that hard. You kind of just want to have the sandpaper do the work. Because when you start pushing hard, it like digs into the paint too much and it starts to like ball up the paint, if that makes sense. I'm gonna get back to you guys when this is all finished and then we'll be able to lay down the clear coat. This is a couple hours later. I just had to put down the camera and focus on what I was doing because I didn't want to fuck this up. But I have the last base coat on the car and it actually came out pretty damn good. So you can see like it's starting to dry. Like you can see that area is a bit wet and this is starting to dry, but you can see how like uniform it is and how like perfect it is, and there's no like imperfections in it. So that side's still wet. I'm gonna let this dry for a couple hours. I'm gonna turn the heaters on and then we're gonna throw the clear coat on. So I'm super excited to get the clear coat on because once the clear coat goes on, we can actually see what it's gonna look like, and I think it's gonna look pretty damn good because like so far the base coat looks pretty good. I mean guys, just like we got the fish eyes out of it and everything. Oh yeah. Just had to change my shirt because I got cat hair all over my shirt and I didn't want a bunch of cat hair in my engine bay. The clear that I have is also this 2K clear. This is the same stuff that I was using to paint with. And this is 2K Clear Glamour, so it's like an extreme high gloss. I said at the beginning of the video, like you punch that little thing in with a hammer or something like that. I actually just realized that there's these little red things on the cap. Basically like put it on there and then squeeze it down. And you'll feel the thing actually go in and puncture in like the little chamber in there. We're gonna start laying down the clear now. Actually have I saw somebody comment in the last video and said the thing that I have wasn't a respirator. I actually realized that, so I have a real respirator now, so now I'm not gonna be like breathing in harmful chemicals. Today is the next day later. So this video is being filmed in 3 days. I'm sorry about that. I don't know like when this is gonna be up. I actually have the clear coat finished and it came out pretty good. We do have some little spots in the clear coat. What I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna do a wet sand and a buff on it because I want it to look as good as I can get it to look. You guys can see there's a little bit of orange peel on here, but other than that, like it came out pretty good. There is some dust on it right now just from being in the garage. I did get some more wet sanding sandpaper. And I also got some 3M Super Duty rubbing compound. And for using my buffer, I do have like a 7-inch orbital buffer, but it's not gonna get in the nooks and crannies, like in the small, like tight little areas in the engine bay. So what I actually did, I got like a little headlight buffer thingy that goes on an end of a drill, and I'm gonna stick it in my my air chuck, and then we're gonna buff it that way. Now we are going to begin wet sanding. I have 1500 and this is what we're gonna be starting out with. And then I have my bottle of water again. I do have some hot soapy water in this, and the reason why you want to use soap is for lubrication. What you want to do when you're wet sanding, you want to focus on one area at a time. So I'm just going to pick an area right now and I'm going to focus on it. So to demonstrate for you guys, I'm going to focus on this flat area right along here. I'm going to focus on this flat area right here. So I'm going to get some water sprayed on there. You don't need a lot of water, just enough to coat what you're doing. Now when you're sanding, you're gonna be able to feel the sandpaper actually dig down and start cutting, and then once it gets smooth, that's how you know like you're done in that area, if that makes sense. Now to show you guys what it's supposed to look like, I'm just gonna wipe it off. Now you guys can see that it's super smooth now. It's smooth to the touch and it's not like glossy. Like here, this is all glossy in here, but now it's matte, and that's just because it's full of a bunch of little small like micro scratches, but don't worry, that will go away as we work up in grit and once we go to the buffing compound. So now that I showed you guys how to do this, I'm gonna bang this out and then I'll get back to you guys when I have this all done and then when we're ready to buff. I got everything wet sanded. It looks like it's an absolute mess right now. I have this Super Duty rubbing compound by 3M. It's really good stuff. And it says it's supposed to take anything designed on automotive paints to remove 1,000 and finer wet sanding or DA scratches. So that fits our category because we just finished up with 1,500 grit. So we're gonna go over the engine bay with all this stuff, and the results should be incredible. Well, they will be. A little bit ago, I was just testing it out. You guys can see, like, this is what it looks like with the wet sanding finish. You know, like, that's the finish that we have. And then I just, real quick, I hit it with that compound, and it turned out amazing. Look at that. And that's not even, we aren't even done. That's the coarse compound, then we're gonna go to medium compound, then a fine compound. All right, so I have you guys back up on the tripod again, and I'm gonna show you what I'm exactly doing. I do have some compound embedded in my pad already, but I'm gonna take a little bit more. And this stuff is very, very coarse, so you do not need that much. We're gonna put a little dab. That was actually like too much. I'm just gonna kind of smear it into the pad. And where I'm gonna be doing it, I'm gonna go along and just pat it in. It's almost like the wet sanding, you're gonna kind of focus in one area, like you're gonna choose an area, do it, stop, clean it, move on to the next area. You can see how fast this stuff already starts to cut. Like I said, this is an insanely coarse finish. Like, it's taking off 1,000 grit sandpaper marks. Starting to get that shine in there right now versus the matte finish that the sandpaper leaves. I'm gonna put down the camera, I'm gonna bang this out, and then should be ready to move on to the final cutting compound. All right, so now I have most of the rough compounding done. You guys can see it looks so much more glossier and it looks like a better finish, but even still, like you guys can see, there's still some scratches in it and stuff. But that's because this compound is made for like, it's made to like get like 1,000 grit scratches out, so it's not gonna leave behind a perfect finish. So what we have to do is now move on to like the finishing polishing step, which I have some ultra fine machine polish right here, and this is some pretty good stuff. So we're gonna go over what we basically just did, but repeating the step with a less aggressive compound. Like I said before, we're pretty much gonna be doing the same process, except we're gonna be using the finer compound. We're gonna throw a couple dabs on our pad here. We have a couple dabs on our pad, now we're just gonna go around and put it on the panel that we wanna get. And then we're gonna start off. Wow, that's like a damn mirror finish. Damn, that looks good. Right, so now after I just went over this area, it feels so smooth. Like, this feels smooth over here, but you can almost like, you know, feel it almost catch your finger, but this, it's like as smooth as glass, and you can see my reflection in it. All right, so I got most of the polishing done. It looks pretty decent. Like, you guys can see how nice and polished it is. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that, baby. You guys can get a look there. Oh yeah. I still have to do more polishing. Like, if you guys see up on the front cross member and stuff like that, I still have to get there and compound and buff that. So I have to get back here, compound and buff, and down there and compound and buff. I just want to get this video out to you guys. If you want to see the completed engine bay, check the next video, or well, next video won't be up yet. And if it is, go watch it. But we're gonna be dropping the S54 in. The S54 is all in saran wrap right now, just because I was, you know, painting. I didn't want to get paint on it, but if you guys don't know, I rebuilt an S54 and we are dropping it in this car and it's going to be fucking sick. I'm gonna edit the video, upload the video, and then when I'm done, I'm going to finish polishing or finish buffing. Like all in like the little tiny areas like you guys can see like that where it's real hard to get. I'm actually gonna have to hand polish and buff it. Not looking forward to that, but it needs to be done. I'm just gonna do it off camera. We're pretty much done, guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Dude, look at that engine bay. Holy shit, look how good that looks. Damn! Just wait till the S54 goes in. There it is. Just wait till that goes in. It's gonna be insane. In next video, like, it's gonna be a banger of a video. I'm gonna have Jude and Brandon here. They're gonna be filming for me, and the S54 is going in. We're dropping the transmission in, and I have a shit ton of new parts. So, like, literally this car is gonna be totally transformed after next video. It's gonna be a good one. That being said, guys, dream so big it's scary. Peace out, and I'll catch you in the next one.